Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Radley Griffin from Tampa, Florida, and Dr. Mihaela Telecan from Melbourne, Florida. Happy New Year to everyone. Happy New Year, Mihaela. How are you?
Happy New Year to you and everyone. I'm very well. How are you?
Doing very well. This is our Happy New Year 2018 low carb chats, and
First chat.
yeah, our first chat for the year. We're excited about this, and really what we wanted to talk about is today is kind of a spinoff of last talk we did, where we had the case study of the individual, or a wonderful individual here in our practice, who really had a great 2017. It was a year of, and it took time. It took time for this person to adopt the lifestyle, but then it was just so wonderful to reflect and take a look at those values and the results over that period of time. And it makes for an exciting new year as well for that particular patient, and I think anybody who's doing this. So we want to talk about today, how do we set SMART goals for low carb, high fat living. And so we want to talk a little bit about that today, because I know a lot of us are wanting to get started on a new year and a new body and a new lifestyle, feeling better. And this is really the perfect time to be thinking about this. So, Mihaela, when you're advising people and you're leveraging the new year, what are some of the things you talk about to help people set SMART goals, attainable goals? How do you start that conversation?
I think at any point I get to talk with someone about lifestyle changes, I remind them about setting goals. And I always say, imagine if we sit down and talk 1 year from today. Where would you be 1 year? How would your life look like? Will you be on more medication or less medication? Would you fit in smaller clothes size or in bigger clothes size? Will you have more energy? Will you sleep better? Will you be less anxious? Will you be in peace with food and feel like you are in charge of your life and food choices versus the other way around? So I like to invite people to just think how time passes and we can drift without knowing where we are going. And if we drift, the default, if chances are that if we already suffer from ill health, or we struggle with weight and food cravings and so many other things, is that our default is the one that keeps taking us to places we don't want to be. We're drifting
Right.
through the default. So I invite people to start setting goals, being purposeful and intentional about what they do and where they want to get. So now, of course, is the best time because it's a new year, it's a new week. We're in the middle of the week, but it's nice. It almost feels refreshing when you can start a new year, and most people do New Year resolutions. And
Right.
It is important for all of us to think, where do we want to be 2019, January 3rd, if we were to sit down and have this chat.
Right.
And before we start goals, I always like to say, okay, now look 1 year back. Because you always want to appreciate what you've done, learn from what it didn't work the way you wanted to work or envision it. So first, in goal setting and intention is reflect back, appreciate and learn from what happened, and then set new goals for the new year. And it's nice if we have a whole, like, end of the year goal, and then we break those goals into smaller goals that when we add them up, they take us to the end term goal.
Right.
Whether it is for someone maybe to lose 50 pounds, for someone else maybe to go off all medication that's more due to lifestyle, like perhaps metformin, for instance, or some other hypoglycemic agent, or even blood pressure medication, or to be free of painkiller drugs, little things.
Right.
So each person has their own goals, but it's good to have a goal that's measurable.
Right.
So in business and in marketing, there is this S.M.A.R.T goal setting. It's an acronym, exactly, and each letter stands for one part of the goal setting process. And I explain this in the book as well, because it's important. It can be applied to any goal setting, really, that we do. So it has good application in health. So S stands for specific. Just like I said, you want to have a specific goal, like end of the year goal. And then you are specific to what happens each month that adds up to the end of the year goal. And everybody has different goals, because everybody's at different stages in the health and healing journey. So that's why it's important to set individual goals.
Okay.
And to be very specific. It could be, and then that takes us into the measurable aspect of the specific goals. They have to be measurable. It could be, you look at hard data like hemoglobin A1C for someone that's diabetic or pre-diabetic, or you look at waist circumference, or you look at weight, or you look at the size of the clothes you're wearing.
Right.
It's whatever you choose, again, depending on what your health and wellness goals are, you want to be able to measure them. So they are specific and they are measurable.
Okay.
And then we go into the A of the S.M.A.R.T, and it's attainable. Now, the goals always have to stretch us a little bit out of our comfort zone, but they have to be attainable. If someone would say, I want to lose 300 pounds in 1 year, or 200 pounds in 1 year, I'm not sure that's attainable, and would probably set the person up for failure. So you want to set a goal that stretches you a little bit, makes you feel a little uncomfortable. You have like a scary feeling in your stomach.
Right.
But you don't want to be way overboard. And I always tell people, dream big. You want to set big goals, but also make sure they're attainable.
Right.
If someone never ran a marathon on their life and they are 50 pounds overweight, maybe setting as a 1 year goal to run half a marathon and to lose maybe half of their excess weight, it's a stretch, but it's pretty attainable if the person follows through, right?
Right.
And then I think the most important part of this S.M.A.R.T acronym is the next one, which is results oriented. So instead of us looking at the nitty-gritty steps that are painful that we have to take every day to achieve that goal, like the hunger that you may have to ride sometimes, maybe the headache that comes with eliminating certain foods, the fluctuating energy until your body adapts to the high fat, low carb, the awkwardness when you're in a social situation and everybody, goes by default, and you are changing now your default and you choose different foods and people look at you like you have three heads, right? So that's uncomfortable. That's not fun to look at. That's why if the goal looks at the result, if you look at the result in the process of aiming for your goal, then it's easier, because instead of thinking, oh my gosh, life without bread is terrible, you're thinking, wow, I'm gonna fit in size, 6, and I'm gonna run half a marathon, and I have all this energy. So you start looking at the results you want to have. So that makes a huge difference in following through and actually getting the results.
Right.
And then the last part of our goal is time bound. So it's important to set deadlines. for instance, when we're in school and we have to study for exams, if we had no deadlines, who would study? Yes. Sorry, my son.
On the thing that Olivia has.
I don't know. Olivia has to show you, okay?
We made videos. She doesn't know how to make.
You guys will figure it out. Okay. Please, Andrei, I'm in a video.
That's so good.
He has no school today, and he's with my friend, and they want to make a video.
Maybe next.
Yes. So, so going back to our time, so it's important to set for ourselves some deadlines.
Yeah.
By this date, I want to achieve this and that. And now, of course, for example, when it comes to numbers on the scale or percentage fat loss, I don't necessarily encourage people to set hard deadline, because we are a biological machine.
Yeah.
It's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's
Yeah.
often 1 + 1 and X and Y and Z that equals to what we want to achieve. So it's not quite black and white, but it's important to have at least a guideline in terms of perhaps if you don't say I want to lose 10 pounds by this date, you would say I want to drop at least 3 pounds. So you have your achievable stretch goal, but you also have the lowest that makes you happy. Like you have different levels. I don't know if this makes sense.
Well, do you think it's so interesting when you talk about goals? The evolution of goals. So initially, we have goals that are usually to offset something bad in our lives: not sleeping well, low energy, too much weight, waistline has too many inches, and it's interesting because I think all of us are somewhere along a spectrum, but it's so neat to see how goals change as we go along. So when people are adopting, say, a lifestyle like this, and they start seeing these problems really fall by the wayside or go away, it's so interesting to see how the goals change. So, for instance, we tend to be going initially with goals that are corrective and to correct a problem that's underlying, and then we shift our focus away when the problems hopefully are eliminated to optimization. And I think that's so key when we're trying to assess, okay, where am I at this year? Especially for the people who are already have adopted low carb, high fat. How do we optimize really what we're doing? I think that's so important for us to determine where are we at on this spectrum, right, from a problem and then an optimization perspective. I think that's really, we want all of our I guess our problem people out there who have a lot of and we all have complaints to deal with and ways we could be better. But I love that journey. Our gentleman from last time went from a problem-based goal focus in 2017 to now an optimization of a 2018, and I think that's really neat to see in our patients, I think.
Absolutely, and that's why it's not like it's the beginning of the year. We're writing down our goals, and we hope that everything will just happen. We'll reach our goals. We have to revisit those goals. In fact, every day you want to revisit the goals and change them as needed.
Right. Absolutely.
And yes, in the beginning, when we start our journey, we set, like you said, corrective goals. But then as we advance and we're further on the health and wellness journey, then from healing, we go to optimizing or wellness or performance. How can I upgrade now what I already have? Because now the default and the foundation change. So we have the default goes from the high fat, low fat, high refined foods, sedentary lifestyle, abusive behavior with not sleeping and over drinking and all those things. That's the default.
Right.
Now
Right.
you change your default where you pay attention to how much you sleep, how alcohol affects you, so you drink less, and how you eat and what you eat and when and all that. So now you have a default that's supportive to healing. And from this point on, you want to go to the next level. Now you're healthy. Now you have you reach many of your goals. How do you upgrade from there? So you increase longevity and performance. So you get more out of life, basically.
Right.
Yeah, it's a continuous journey. We
Yeah, absolutely. I
find-
think, yeah, I think part of it too for us is accountability, and in the beginning, it's tough for us to be accountable to ourselves. That potentially is why we're in a particular situation where we need to focus on problems. So obviously, with our clients and our patients, are within our practices. Patients have an accountability. They can see the doctor, especially if they're with a low carb, high fat practitioner such as yourself or such as me. But that's not available to everybody, and I think accountability is such a huge part. What are some ways people can they work with each other? What are some ways to create a bit of accountability? Because I think that's a neat part of goals, to have a measurable as one of our SMART acronyms there. Our measurables are there. We want to measure that. And how can we create a little bit of that accountability that drives us? What are
Very
some
good point. Let me just plug it looks like my laptop is going to run out of battery.
Yeah, plug in. We don't want you cutting out.
1 second. And I don't think it's a good idea to plug it when it's on, but hopefully we'll survive. Okay. So this is a great point. I'm glad you brought it up, because accountability is so important, and environment, supportive environment, because it's, again, we are drifting, and the default is what it is for everybody. And I always go to make analogies with business. In business, we say your income is the average of the 5 people you spend most of your time with. I say in health and in fitness, your health and fitness is the average of the 5 people you spend most of your time.
That's so interesting. Yeah.
It is. And just think about it. Let's say it's Friday night, and all your friends say, let's go for happy hour, or let's go in the mall and, I don't know, buy something or have a dessert. What chances are that's what you're going to do, because those are the friends or the family or the 5 people you spend most of the time with. Versus when you have friends that say, let's sleep early, so we get up early, so we go to the gym and do a HIIT class, and then let's get together and make a meat and bone stock, so we all learn it, and then we have or learn how to pack lunches for work. So it's all about the environment that we to some degree we can change, right? I mean, we don't want to lose friends, but at the same time, we want to prioritize ourselves and say, I'm important. My health is important. I'm going to look around and see what friends are on the same page with what I'm doing. And I'm going to spend more time with this and less time, maybe more phone time with the ones that have different goals and priorities. It's not good or bad. It's what you want. And you being aware that your environment contributes to your success. Or,
you know what's so interesting? It's when you bring up something really terrific. You know, it's too often if a person's living, say, the low carb, high fat life, and they're in an optimization mode, they're feeling great, they're exercising. Generally, that person's not saying to a friend who's not doing that, they're not saying, hey, why don't you do what I'm doing? Mm-hmm. Usually it's the other friend who's not living that way says, hey, I want to live like you're doing. You look like you're doing great. You look like you're fit. You look like you're healthy. I desire that. I want that. It's so interesting how that works. And too often with the friend that maybe drinks too much, we're rarely are we saying, gosh, you sure can hold your liquor. I think I'd really like to be able to drink as much as you do. We don't generally go that direction. And I think you're right. We want to have a synergy with the people that are around us. And I think the people that maybe get upset at us for maybe not over drinking, for eating poorly. You know, there's obviously that's a huge psychological projection that happens. Someone feels inadequate because they look at someone who is not doing the same things they are, and they want to make that person feel guilty that they're not living life. It's so interesting.
Exactly. It's like, oh, you don't know how to have fun. Well, relative. What fun is for you may be very different. For me, maybe fun to go for a run in the morning or ride my bike, not to get myself wasted with 3 drinks at night, right? Everybody measures fun differently.
I don't think no one's ever sitting there complaining about, gosh, I'm just so miserable from eating in a healthy way. I'm so miserable from exercising and feeling great. No, we're miserable when we've all said, I'm never going to drink that much again.
Yeah. So that's great. So that actually is the second point of like what I do in my coaching with people. So one is the environment, right?
Yeah.
Second is find role models.
Absolutely.
People that you aim to, you admire, you crave to be like, not be like them, because you, in the end, you're you, but you aspire to. They get you inspired, they get you motivated to make a step towards a better version of you,
right.
Because it's a long life process of improving ourselves and upgrading. And as we get older, we get wiser. That's what I like about me getting older. I'm so much wiser than 20 years ago.
Me too.
With regards to the food choices, with regards to sleep, with so many things. And it's important. So that's why I always tell people, find 2 or 3 people in your real life that you may or not know them personally, but you can see or know of them, or in the, what we call celebrity world, whatever you want to call it. But find some role models that have a high, it's like the bar is really high, and follow them, and they will help you get closer to that. If the people that you always hang around with are at your level or below in terms of fitness or health, it's going to be pretty hard for you to get above. It's almost like the sucking mud, it's pretty hard.
But that does make you feel good, though, that if you hang around with people who aren't doing as good, it makes you feel good.
Oh, well.
I'm just joking, of course.
Not me. I think I work so much on my mindset that it doesn't really.
Yeah, it really brings you down. When you're in the zone and you're wanting to be optimized and you're feeling optimized, you want to feel energized.
Yep.
And you don't want to feel, less than that. So I agree. Find somebody who's doing this. And I think what's so important is all of us at some point, we either need to continue to optimize, or we were at the point where we needed to correct. And that's what we're all human. And a lot of times people will, I would look at you, Mihaela, and I'd say, gosh, you have it all figured out. You're healthy, you're exercising. But, knowing your history, I know that, there was a time in your life where you weren't optimal. You weren't doing exactly as you are now. So I think that offers a lot of reassurance.
Again, 2019, when I look back, I'm going to have progress.
That's right.
I want progress. Like right now, I know my fitness is not where it was 2017. But why? Because I wrote a book, and I couldn't write a book and ride a bike at the same time.
If you tried harder, you could have done.
I sacrificed something. I'm aware of it, and I want to get back my fitness. So I run with ease, and I do all my HIIT training without feeling like I'm about to die. But I push through it.
Yeah.
And I go and I find the people that are better than I am. So I want to be like them.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the commitment, it's the determination, and the courage to fail. It's but it's not failure unless you stay down.
Correct.
As long as you get back up and you go again, is not failure, is learning.
Well, we really want to be continued resources for those who are watching us and tuning into us. And again, I'm a firm believer to live this lifestyle, you have to have like-minded people who have similar goals, doing this with you. Spouses, friends. When you're doing this together, it makes it that much easier, I think. And so we really want to be there for our viewers and those who do tune in, a resource. If we can offer accountability, if we can be role models. I mean, there's an old saying, the best sermon is living by example. And of course, we want to continue to optimize and live by example for those who maybe are looking at us as our role models. I've never, viewed myself as such, but it's kind of, if I can, that'd be great. So we really want to provide that this year as we go through our chats, offering more insight into this lifestyle, and as we're trying to help people, I think, attain and achieve their goals for 2018. So
absolutely. And talking about accountability and support, you see, in the beginning of the year, we all looking at in social media and emails. Every day I get an email about do this for 7 days or 3 weeks or a month, and everything is gonna come
absolutely
miraculously. Yeah. But there is no miraculous anything happening in 1 month. Pretty much the first month of changing your lifestyle, you're gonna be miserable.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I really wanna remind people that it's a long process. And most people in the first month, they have headaches, they feel exhausted, they are nauseous, they are anxious, they are unsettled, they feel like, oh no, I cannot live like this for the rest of my life. But you don't have to live for the rest of your life.
Right.
Because it's part of the climbing. When you climb the mountain, when you go up, it's pretty hard, it's pretty steep, and you need to stop and take a few breaths, and maybe you have someone around you that says, come on, we can do it, right? So it's exactly the same with embracing a lifestyle. And sometimes even if you are in it, and maybe an end of the year party or some holidays or birthdays come, and you feel like you go a little bit off track, you need the support. So it's I want to remind people, is no quick fix. You have to commit for it in the long term. If you think of something short and quick, you just think how many short and quick things you've tried and how much they helped you. Where are you now after so many years trying something for 3 weeks, for a month, for 2 months, for 3 months, and why that doesn't work? Because you've got to change for the long term. That default that I keep talking about.
Absolutely.
You've got to change the default. And that takes time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's there's an interesting book my wife introduced me to called Discipline Equals Freedom, and it's really true. When you're disciplined with diet, exercise, even with your work, not letting things fall through the cracks as much, how much freedom you ultimately have from a time perspective, even from a health perspective. When you're not feeling well, just how taxing that is on your body, how much time is wasted, productivity is wasted.
Yes.
Again, a person's not their best self when they are not optimized. So it's adopting, and again, I'm preaching to the choir here. This is something we all have to, I think, work on is that discipline, and I think discipline is adopting a behavior that ultimately benefits and creates our best self. Yeah. So we can be disciplined in a lot of negative ways, I think. So we want to adopt more positive behaviors, because it will ultimately impact our health. It will, as a byproduct. That's why I love low carb, high fat as a physician, because I love the measurables. I love the results. And it's so neat to see these results change from my perspective when patients are disciplined with their lifestyle. And it's just so wonderful to see the disease reversal really unfold before my eyes. I think it's just an absolute wonderful thing to see.
It's a great report, right?
Absolutely. It's just the best. It's so exciting.
Absolutely. Well, before we end, I want to let our audience, our listeners and viewers know that talking about accountability and setting goals in the new year, if anybody's interested on a 10-month journey with me, I'm putting a program together. It's called Transformation 10. I take 10 women, mostly. Most men don't want to coach for that long. but if a man wants to, it's welcome. And it's a hybrid of private with group coaching. So if anybody wants to know more about the program, please PM me and I'll be happy to give you details and kind of interview you to make sure you're a good candidate, because I'm looking for 10 committed to themselves people that want to take the transformation journey, because there's no quick fix. It's not, I wanted to do a month, and we might do the 4-day fasting, maybe you and I, and just journal and let people know what happens in a 4-day, a little bit later in the month when my son goes back to school. But that's just for us, because I was, thinking, do I do a month coaching? I don't want to do a month coaching because I just destroy people's expectations, and then they think low carb doesn't work.
Right.
1 month is just not enough.
Not enough.
In my private coaching, I don't take anybody less than 3 months. Everybody that does the 3 months, just about everybody, expands to another 3 or 3 more. So I decided to do this 10 months. I combined private, so everybody gets individualized plan, plus the power of the group with accountability partner within the group, aside from my accountability and support. And we'll cover everything that needs to be covered when it comes to lifestyle change. Sleep, meditation, food, movement, testing, blogging, everything. Everything that I do with my private clients is going to happen in over the course of 10 months for a fraction of the price. That's all I'm going to say.
No, that's great. I think to a lot of times it takes time to unlearn behaviors and to adopt new lifestyles and new habits. And I love the idea of a guide. I love the idea of sharing, because we get tired of the same recipes, the same things. So to have those new ideas, I think we do it in every other aspect of life. Oh, try this new technology. You have to try this new restaurant. You have to try this new service. And it works also with low carb, high fat from a idea perspective. And if you're not with the group of people that are living this way, it's really difficult to be the idea person all the time for yourself. So
really make it as a new way, like the normal way, because now it's not considered the normal way of eating,
right,
or living. So for you to get it into your mind and into your body and your spirit that this is the normal way of eating, you've got to immerse yourself, and you have to, and to get into that discipline, like you said, you've got to have someone hold you accountable, hold you by your hand, week after week, day after day. And pretty much 10 months is a good time for someone after 10 months, 1 year, to feel like they don't have to think it. It's second nature. It's decision made. This is normal. You don't question it. You don't think it. You don't fear it. It just becomes. I think Dee put a comment that I didn't get a chance to read it.
Let's take a look. Dee here. Thanks for doing. Let's see. We can show this here. That might be too much on the screen.
No, I can read. Thank you to the both of you for doing these chats. It has certainly been instrumental in my weight loss journey. I haven't lost a lot of weight of the last couple of weeks, even though still being diligent. However, my body is changing, transforming, trimming, building. My scale says I've lost 13.5 kilograms. Wow. Since November, that's a lot.
That's a lot of weight.
And put on 1.1 kilograms of muscle. Bone density has increased. My slightly high blood pressure and heart rate has reduced too. Thank you. Oh, this is such a wonderful feedback. We love you for providing it here for us, for all our listeners.
That is so great, and it's just such a that's what makes us feel good, and not only sharing our own metrics, but when others are sharing theirs as well, and the improvements, and that's again those measurable results. I mean, gosh, it doesn't get more evident than that. So thank you for sharing. I really
and it's worth saying that Dee, she is doing it on her own, but with our support. She shows up for every video. She comments, she posts inside the group, the book group. She's very active. She shares recipes. She's such an inspiration, even for me. because I'm not even as good at searching recipes. I'm kind of like on default. I already, whatever I have, I know what to cook. But it's nice when someone comes with fresh new ideas, just like you said.
Absolutely.
So wonderful. And so she is taking advantage of the environment and people that she admires and aspires to model.
That's
along
correct.
with all the resources, free or paid. Some are free, some are paid. So that's what I encourage all our fans and followers and patients and clients to do. Immerse yourself. Find the support you need. Do it.
Absolutely.
a new year, a new chance to advance.
Well, again, thank you for everyone for watching us today. Happy New Year 2018. We look forward to a year filled with more education, meeting our goals, surpassing our goals, and being examples to each other, and really continuing this community and really just helping each other out. So again, please post in our comment section. We will be back next week with another topic. We haven't yet decided on what we'll discuss next week, but we'll get that figured out and have a terrific chat.
And our audience can post if they want a specific topic when they want us to talk.
Absolutely.
Open to suggestions. This is for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, we'll see everyone again next week.
Happy New Year. Bye.
Happy New Year. Bye. And